If all of you could have a seat except my kitchen help, I probably only need one of you. So go ahead, Marcy, if you want to have a seat. We can pull up another chair over here if you want to be close. All right, so you all on the third table, you're the farthest away from me. Can you see what I'm doing? Can you see this workspace right here? Okay. Can you hear me?
We smell.
You can smell it? Because we've got one more chair here if you want to be closer. If anyone wants to sit a little closer and see better, you're welcome to move over. All right. Well, we are ready to get started. We are here to have fun and eat good food, right? I am so excited to have all of you here. I told my kitchen help, I said, I don't care if anyone shows up because we'll eat good even if they don't come. But the more people who show up, the more fun we have. And so I am just super thrilled to have all of you here. Look at that. We've got almost 20 people here. So great. Let's go ahead and start with a word of prayer, and then we'll begin. Pastor Daniel, would you have our opening prayer for us?
I'll be happy to. Let's pray together. Father in heaven, thank you, Lord, that we can come here and enjoy the good food that you have created for us. Bless us now as we fellowship and as we learn about these good foods and how we can enjoy them even better. We pray this in Jesus' name, and amen.
Amen. And Daniel, can you share that with my laptop onto my personal Facebook? I want to give a shout out because our Facebook live stream is also rolling. Don't worry, it's on me and not on you. We have a number of friends in Kentucky, former restaurant customers who used to come to my classes, who like to pop in whenever I teach a class over here. So I just want to say a special welcome to them if they are watching. And if Daniel will try to keep an eye on the comments occasionally. If you want to say hello, you're welcome to. And if Daniel doesn't holler out your comment, I will go back and read them all later. So please comment all you want. I love to hear who is watching and how you guys are doing. So today is brunch, and we could call it brunch for dinner today, right? There's nothing wrong with having brunch, in my opinion, any time of the day. But there's something special about having a day off and a little bit of more time to cook something for breakfast besides grabbing some granola or throwing a smoothie in a cup, or for me, sometimes it's grabbing orange juice and an apple or whatever I got to do on my way out the door to work. To say, hey, it would be nice to have just a big breakfast, or especially if we have company over or things like that, or sometimes just because I want it for dinner.
Cindy Dishman says, hello, Kristina. So glad to catch you.
Hi, Cindy. You all have recipes, right? And for those of you on Facebook Live, you'll get the recipes later unless Daniel gets them up for you now. We are going to start with, let's see, where should I start? I'm going to start with showing you potatoes. That is not on your recipe, so this is a bonus recipe because I don't have a recipe typed up for it. But maybe, Julia, do you mind bringing out my air fryer so they can all see what it looks like? How many of you have an air fryer or have used one? A couple of you. How many of you have heard of an air fryer? All of you, right? The nice thing about an air fryer, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, it's just another kitchen gadget. I'll never use it. Yeah, go ahead and just put it right here so they can all see it. I'll never use it. I don't need it. I don't have counter space. I'm not going to buy one. And I said that for actually quite a few years after they first came out. And then finally one day I had some really good friends say, you know, this really has saved us a lot of time, especially when we're making small batches. And when I heard the small batch thing, I was like, ding, ding, ding. Wait, you know, it's just Daniel and I at home. It's just the two of us. I mean, a lot of times we have company, but sometimes we don't. And sometimes I just want to cook one potato, you know? And who's going to heat up an entire oven for an hour to cook one potato? Loretta. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll get a tiny one. So I bought this little tiny air fryer. It was very tiny. It barely cooked one potato. And it was an air fryer lid that went on my Instant Pot, a very tiny one. It was the very first one they came out with. And I told my husband, we'll try this out. And if I like it, I'll think about getting a bigger air fryer for the restaurant. Because at that time I had Kristina's Kitchen in Kentucky. And so I tried it out and I was like, wow, it does. It cooks one potato in only 20 minutes. And if I did that oven, it's 45 to 50 minutes or an hour in the oven. And it was the heat of summer. And I didn't have to turn the air conditioner down because I cooked my whole kitchen to 100 degrees, you know, running that oven in the middle of summer. And I thought there might be something to this air fryer business. So I went and I found this air fryer online and I put it on my wish list on Amazon. And lo and behold, about a year later, somebody bought it for my birthday. And there are out there all different kinds of air fryers. Okay, they have toaster ovens that are air fryers. They have little bitty air fryers. They have big ones. They have ovens that have the air fryer setting. And no two air fryers are the same. But one principle is the same. They cook by blowing air. And of course, if you have the oven with the air fryer setting, it's basically a glorified convection oven. It just blows a little harder and kind of dries it out while it's cooking. But for me, I didn't want that because I was trying not to heat up my kitchen. So this is the one I have. You'll notice it has a drawer. And the nice thing about the drawer is for me when I do want to do large batches, and forgive me, it's a little bit dirty because we just cooked potatoes in it. This holds 5 pounds of potatoes.
Well,
And with 5 pounds of potatoes, it took us 25 minutes while adding like a minute or two for preheat. So 30 minutes flat, it was done. 5 pounds of potatoes. There are not very many air fryers that can boast that size. This is the Instant Pot brand. And like I said, it doesn't matter what your air fryer is. The nice thing about it is you can do a small amount without heating up your whole oven. And it's not just for potatoes. You can do any vegetables in it. If you are tired of steamed vegetables on the stove and you want something else, roasted vegetables are amazing. You can roast Brussels sprouts. You can roast broccoli. You can roast asparagus. You can roast cauliflower, carrots. The list goes on. Any vegetables you want. And the nice thing is you get that crispy, chewy texture without a ton of oil. And you're not frying. And it also works for leftovers. I like to use it for heating up veggie burgers. Instead of like pulling my veggie burgers out of the freezer and frying them on the stove, I put them in the air fryer. And I get really beautiful, crisp veggie burgers with no oil added. Of course, last night, some of you were here for our church social, and I put 2 cans of Big Franks in here. And we had hot Big Franks without a campfire, and they were nice and crusty and perfect texture for eating without a campfire, or we didn't have to boil them or get them all rubbery in the microwave or anything like that. So it also works for like if you like spring rolls. Spring rolls heat up beautifully in the air fryer with no extra oil. And this one here, I can put 12 spring rolls in one batch. And the big ones, I can get 8 in a batch, or 10, I think, of the great big ones that you can get at Walmart. Anything frozen thaws beautifully in the air fryer. So if you're questioning whether or not, maybe, I promise they didn't pay me to give you this speech. This is just my own personal fact that I have found something that works amazing. You can like even heat up leftover food. Because I don't have a toaster oven, I've even taken a glass Pyrex dish, wrapped it in tin foil, stuck it in, and heated it in the air fryer instead of baking it in the oven. If you don't want to microwave something, it gives you an extra option. So yeah, the sky's the limit. I saw a hand. Yes?
How do you know the times?
How do you know the times? Well, the nice thing is it has adjustable temperature and time on this one. It goes up to 400 degrees. For almost everything, I do it at 400 degrees. There's a few things I might do 375, but almost everything I do 400 unless I'm heating up leftovers in a glass dish, then I do 350. Potatoes is about, if it's a small batch of potatoes, it's 18 to 20 minutes. If it's 5 pounds of potatoes, it's 25 minutes. If it's carrots, it's 10 minutes. Broccoli's 5 minutes. It's very similar to the times that you would cook it on the stove if you were steaming it, with just maybe a couple extra minutes longer. But it's very, very close to your steaming times if you're not wanting it turned to mush. So Brussels sprouts is about 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, your broccoli and cauliflower, 5 to 8 minutes. Like it's
all those big franks.
Big Franks is 3 minutes. Yeah.
For that whole batch?
For 12 Big Franks. Yes, it was 3 minutes. We did it last night. So 2 batches, we had 24 Big Franks ready to go for everybody who was here for the church social. So yeah, and last night we discovered for the first time that you can make s'mores in here. We were planning to have a campfire, and then the burn ban happened, and we didn't want to cancel the church social, so we put our graham cracker in the bottom and our your chocolate or carob and your vegan marshmallow, and it took 1 minute. And we had s'mores. So anyway, yeah, that was free. That was free advertising for the Instant Pot air fryer maker. You can stick it back in. Actually, just leave it here because I'll go ahead and chop up a potato. Just leave it out. I'll throw it out. Well, let's see. Maybe I will put it here and turn it on. How's that? So you can all see me. Daniel, can they see me if I'm clear over here, back here?
Looks like, yes.
On both of them?
Yes, I think we're
Okay, good. So here we go. So I just hit the air fry button and I set my time for whatever time you want. I'll just put it as 20 because I'm gonna do a small batch. Temperature is 400 and hit start. And as preheating, and just for fun, I'm gonna throw a couple potatoes in it for you. And then we'll have to take the air fryer into the kitchen because I only have 2 outlets over here. I should have grabbed a bowl of water. Maybe, can you just put some water in here, Julia? That way I can wash off my potatoes. So you can do any size of potato you want. You can do big chunks, or you can do small dices. Small dices cook faster. Or you can even, just for fun, have you seen one of these?
Yeah.
Okay, if you have one of these, you can make French fry slices with your potatoes. You have to be a little bit creative, but what I do is I take my potato. Whoa, these are huge. It has to be, if you have a big potato, you have to cut it in half to do it. Thank you. I'll use it as my sink. Since this potato is a monster, we're gonna do it this way. You can't do it whole because you can only do it the length of your thing here. So I'm gonna cut this one in half, but you have French fries. So yeah, it's pretty fun what you can do with one of these. Once again, the makers of this Vidalia Chop Wizard did not pay me to give you this demonstration. But it's a fast way, especially if you have kids and you want your potatoes a little bit smaller. It's a fast way to do it without taking a lot of time. All right. Yeah, it saves your fingers for sure. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna throw these in a bowl, and I'm gonna show you how I season them. Wasn't that fast? This isn't just for onions. So for seasoning, I don't measure my seasonings. I know how to shake, so I'm sorry, you'll have to learn how to shake if you want to do it my method, but I don't see my salt shaker. Did my salt shaker get left in the kitchen?
No.
No, it's behind me. Never mind. Okay, so I have an industrial sized salt shaker. If you turn this upside down, you're gonna make things so salty because it comes out fast. But it's nice because the big holes allow the bigger granules of the Himalayan pink salt through without getting caught like regular salt shakers do. So if you buy Himalayan pink salt, you're having a hard time getting it out of your shaker, get a bigger shaker like this. You can find them online very easily. It's just a stainless steel shaker. So the secret to using it is you don't turn it upside down. You turn it sideways and then do a gentle shaking motion. And so that is how I salt my potatoes. And for an entire big bowl, I count how many times I go over. So for a big bowl full, I count 6 times, and that's how I know how much salt. For a small bowl, I do 3. But of course, it depends on how much you're shaking, how much salt is coming out. So you will have to be the judge of that. But I do the same thing with onion powder. I put the same amount of onion powder as I do salt, because that adds more flavor without adding more salt. Paprika is also another really fun one to add some flavor to it. It also adds some nice color. And this one has a harder time coming out, so you can actually be a little more upside down with that one. And let's see, do I have garlic? Yes, I have garlic. Garlic, you want to do half the amount that you do onion. That's generally a rule of thumb for anything. Half or less, depending on your preference. If you like lots of garlic, do half the amount of onion. So if you did 1 teaspoon of onion, half teaspoon of garlic. If you don't like as much garlic, you do quarter the amount, which is me, because I don't like as much garlic. If you like nutritional yeast, you can put a little bit of nutritional yeast on there. That also adds just a little bit more flavor, and it doesn't take very much. I just do a light sprinkle. And that is totally optional. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. There's not a huge amount of flavor difference, just a little. And then lastly, you just need a tiny bit of oil. Like you're talking like a teaspoon or 2 at the very most. It does not take much oil at all in an air fryer. If you're trying to do completely oil-free, you can. All you have to do is use pan spray on the bottom of the air fryer so it doesn't stick, and you can do no oil at all. It won't be quite as crispy, but it still works. And that's the beauty of air frying, is you're not getting near as much oil. So you just mix that up. So all those seasonings are nicely mixed together. And you can see my air fryer is totally preheated now. So we're just gonna open the drawer and throw it in. And it will beep halfway through to tell you it's time to stir it. And then it'll beep when it's done. And when it's done, you just check it with a fork or a sharp knife to see if it's done. If it's not done, give it 5 more minutes. There's your air fryer demonstration. All right, Julie, I'll let you, or Daniel or somebody, I'll let you guys move it back to the kitchen. Just don't burn yourself because it's hot. And it should be already set when you plug it back in. It doesn't always cancel when the electricity goes out. At least if it's a blink. All right, so that's your potato demo. Let's do pancakes. So the pancakes, you have the recipe. You will notice it's oat-free pancakes. I will also tell you it is gluten-free pancakes. And for you, I'm going to tell you, because I know there's some things in here you are allergic to, to substitute the coconut flour. That is the hardest thing in this recipe, the hardest part of the recipe. But you can do it. You will want to substitute it. You'll have to go to the Asian market to find it. But you substitute with cassava flour, not tapioca flour. It's the brown cassava flour that has, you know, the brown color, not the white. So substitute with that, and this recipe does work. And then use whatever milk you want to use. And there you have it. I know how much allergies are a pain, and so I was just kicking myself that I didn't have those ingredients on hand so I could make a batch she could eat today, but she can go home and make it. So, okay, pancakes. How many of us are here? I'm gonna do a double batch. So on page 3, you have the double batch recipe, because I never make a single batch. And I know some of you have big families, and so I did the math for you, and I doubled it. And for those of you who don't have big families, you'll use the single batch. So that will help you. I gave you both recipes because I always make a double batch. Even if it's just Daniel and I, because they freeze beautifully, or you can stick them in the fridge and rewarm them. You can warm them in the toaster, in the microwave, or the air fryer. And they are excellent. They do not taste good cold. I will give you that qualifier, because they're gluten-free, made with rice flour. They are hard as a rock and taste absolutely nasty cold. So please reheat them, and don't reheat them halfway. Reheat them all the way, because that's the rule of thumb for gluten-free. But with that said, let's do the double recipe. So what is the first thing I want to put in here? I'm gonna let you guys tell me what to put in so that I do this right. All right, and I did not hear how much brown rice flour. 2 cups, okay. I'm gonna turn this a little bit so it catches what I'm saying. 2 cups of brown rice flour, and you know what? I am not a exact measure when it comes to flour, because what I do is I adjust the liquid. So if you go scant on your flour, look at that, it's exactly 2 cups. If you go scant on your flour in this recipe, you're gonna wanna go scant on your liquid. If you go heaping on your flour, then start with the same amount of liquid and add more if needed. So that is your rule of thumb for measuring flour. I have a lot of people that will scoop, and if you can still see silver on your measuring cup, you did not get a full cup in there. So that's your rule of thumb. However, you don't want it, piled like a volcano above it either. So balance is a great thing. Okay, what goes next?
1 cup of tapioca.
Okay, and this is the plain, it's called tapioca starch, tapioca flour. It's the white starchy substance. And if you cannot have tapioca, you can use arrowroot flour for the same thing, or arrowroot powder. The main thing is arrowroot is a little more expensive than tapioca. So that's why I use tapioca, is because, this stuff goes everywhere. Tapioca is cheaper, easier to come by. But it does, they both work interchangeably, same amount, you don't have to change anything on it. Okay, what's next?
1/2 cup coconut flour.
1/2 cup of coconut flour. Okay, the reason there's not very much coconut flour in here, what this does is this helps, it actually helps, it helps hold it together. It's part of the binder in this recipe. If you substitute with more coconut flour, you will have a very gritty pancake. You do not want to put extra of this. So that is the maximum amount you want to put in. And you said 1/2 cup, right? Okay. This is...
You said coconut could be substituted with cassava.
Yes, with the brown cassava flour. Because cassava and tapioca are the same thing. Tapioca is the starch of the cassava. Please come, welcome. Welcome, welcome. We have more chairs over here.
Thank you.
So sometimes people will sell cassava flour, but it's tapioca starch. So if it's white, it's not cassava flour. It's the starch. All right, so we have that in there, and that is lumpy. So I'm going to break up some of these lumps here. What next?
2 tablespoons ground
We are
flax.
doing the oat pancakes. And I'm doing the double batch to make it larger, and it's on page 3 of your handout. You're welcome. I'm glad you could come. It's okay. We didn't eat without you. Okay, I got talking and I did not hear what someone
2
said.
tablespoons ground flaxseed.
Okay, flaxseed.
Why do you put flaxseed in it?
Flaxseed and chia seed, you'll notice there's both. If you are allergic to one, you can use all of the other. So if you're allergic to flax, you can do 4 tablespoons chia. If you're allergic to chia, you can do 4 tablespoons flax. This is the egg in the recipe. The reason I use 2 of each, and if you're not allergic to them, I recommend doing what it says. When you mix flax and chia together, they actually have more of a leavening effect and an egg effect than if you use one or the other. Chia seed tend to be a little bit more gummy, and flax seed tends to be a little more gritty. And somehow when you use them both together, they just they make up for each other's lack and just make a really nice egg replacer. So that's why I use both. And the 2 tablespoons of each, that is before it's ground. So I use a grinder. This is a little coffee grinder. If you do not have a grinder, you can buy it already ground, just double the amount it says. So instead of 2 tablespoons, you will use 4 tablespoons. Because this is our double batch.
So these are pre-ground.
Yes, these are pre-ground. Yes. Let's see, where do we have? Here's our chia seed. Yeah, when you grind it, it expands. It doesn't expand quite double, so you can go scant when you're doubling it. But it does expand a fair bit when you grind it. So minimum 3 tablespoons if you're using ground. And you can actually buy pre-ground mix, like flax chia mix already ground in a bag. I prefer to grind my own just because it's fresher. But if you don't have a grinder and you don't want to fool with it, just buy a bag of that.
And you get more too.
Yeah, just keep it in your refrigerator. I pour it into a jar and stick it in the fridge, and it will keep very nicely for a long time. I'm all about making things easy. And I will say with this pancake mix, as most of you know, my husband and I were camping for a long time last year. So I made a whole bunch of pancake mix with this recipe, just all the dry ingredients. And I did the single batch, and a single batch fits in a quart Ziploc bag. And I just had a whole bunch of quart Ziploc bags. And when we wanted pancakes, all I had to do was add the oil and soy milk. And I had pancakes already going. That was very nice for camping. So if you plan to go camping, I highly recommend making some mixes before you go. All right, so we are going to plug our outlet in here. I also like to grind them together instead of grinding them separately because chia seed gums up in your grinder and flaxseed does not. And so when you mix them, the chia and flax aren't gummy. There we go. Okay, so that's our chia and flax there. So now we need salt.
1 teaspoon.
Yes, I'm looking for my salt. There it is, it's behind me. That's why I can't find it. 1 teaspoon of salt. That beep was to stir the potatoes.
Wish you all could see the little piles of ingredients she's making ahead.
All right, what else comes in here?
2 teaspoons of cinnamon.
Okay, and that is optional. If you do not like cinnamon, you can leave it out, but it does add flavor, and it tastes good either way. If you're not going to use cinnamon, double the vanilla, and that will also be very good. My favorite kind of cinnamon is what's called the true cinnamon, because there's a true cinnamon and there's a fake cinnamon. The true cinnamon is the Ceylon cinnamon, Ceylon, and the fake cinnamon is the cassia cinnamon. True cinnamon is also known as sweet cinnamon. And most of the time when you're looking at like the properties of cinnamon, like there's healthful properties as well. Those are usually referring to the real cinnamon, not the fake cinnamon. So, okay. What else? Where are we at?
1 tablespoon of baking powder.
Baking powder. Okay. And what else?
2 tablespoons of sugar.
Okay, and those are optional if you don't want, did I even bring sugar? I think I forgot the sugar. I have maple syrup. I have powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is not quite as sweet as regular sugar because it has a little bit of cornstarch in it, but it will work just fine for today. And this is not normal powdered sugar, just so you know. This is the organic sugar, so it has not been bleached with pig bones and all the crazy chemicals that they put in bleached sugar.
You didn't want to know that about sugar.
Okay. That was 2 tablespoons, right? That's what you told me to put in?
Yes.
Okay. So that's our dry ingredients, right? Except I happen to have dry vanilla. So vanilla powder is something that you can order from Azure Standard. And if any of you are familiar with Azure Standard, they deliver near here, on the north side of Charlotte is where they deliver. And I think they also deliver near you guys, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, like just north of you, like,
Or something. Yeah, Kristina gets it.
I was trying to remember, I think maybe near Winston-Salem they have a delivery drop.
Okay.
So anyway, that is where I get it. It is pure maple extract that's extracted in alcohol, and then they evaporate the alcohol out of it. And it is super expensive because it's the real thing. It doesn't have all the chemicals. A lot of your powdered vanillas you buy in the store have artificial vanilla flavor added to it, which is absolutely nasty. It smells bad, like it burns your nose, like it's horrible. But this is the real stuff. And so I like to use it in my dry mixes. I also like to use it if I'm making like my own whipped cream or coconut cream or anything that I don't want to turn brown. And it's also nice in recipes that aren't going to be cooked because you don't have to worry about trying to get the alcohol out of it. So anyway, that is something to keep in mind. I think it calls for 2 teaspoons. Is that correct?
2 teaspoons.
I put it in your liquid ingredients because I know most of you have liquid, so I didn't want someone accidentally putting liquid in their dry. So that's why it's in the liquid.
Dry and the liquid are the same measurement.
Yes, use the same measurements. Okay, so we're just going to mix this up together. And then we're going to add our wet ingredients to it. So our wet ingredients are what?
3 cups of soy milk and 4 teaspoons of gluten.
All right, and when I first started this recipe, I thought that there was only one kind of milk that you could use and nothing else would work. But I've discovered it's very forgiving, and you can pretty much use any kind of milk you want. So if you can't have soy milk, you could use almond milk or whatever other kind of milk you want to use, and it will work. So we're going to put Soy milk is still my favorite because we are going to make buttermilk out of this. And the two that work the best for buttermilk is soy milk first and almond second, but you can do it with others too. 3 cups, is that what you told me?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's my 3 cups right there. And then to make our buttermilk, we are going to add lemon juice. How much lemon juice do I put in?
Teaspoon.
Okay, so I'm going to use my tablespoon and add a little more. How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
3.
Good job, you guys are great. Okay, so there's 3 and a little bit more. Now we have 4.
They would have been great kitchen help with your recipe.
That's the first lesson I tell all my employees. How many teaspoons are in tablespoons and how many quarter cups are in a cup? All right, so you can't see it here, but it's curdling. Some people will say, well, you have to use vinegar to curdle it. It will curdle with vinegar too, but I prefer lemon juice and it curdles the same way as vinegar. So that is our buttermilk. And then the only other thing is oil. And your recipe says coconut oil, but good news, olive oil works. In fact, if you use olive oil, do not use extra virgin, unless you like olive flavored pancakes. So I go for the ones that say light olive oil or light tasting, or the ones that they filtered all the olive pieces out of if you're going to use olive oil. And how they look, Julia? Are they done?
Did you say
Yay!
where you bought this? Cindy wanted to know where you buy the cinnamon.
The Ceylon cinnamon, my favorite place to get it is through a company called Mountain Rose Herbs in Oregon. And you can get 4 ounces or you can get a pound. That's not I just use the bottle. That is not Mountain Rose Herbs, no.
That's not what that is.
Yeah, I reuse my bottles and I refill them. Okay, so half a cup of oil and then our sweetener, and then what else? There's 1 more liquid, right? How much? Maple syrup, okay?
1/4 cup.
Yes, 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Okay, so I make sure I have everything ready. I've got my half cup measuring cup. I got my 1/4 cup measuring cup.
Mountain Rose Herbs.
Yes, Mountain Rose Herbs.
And where are they?
They are online, but they're in Oregon. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think the Azure Standard also carries it. When I ordered last month, they were out of stock, but I believe they also carry it too. So if you're ordering something from Azure anyway, you can add it to your order. But, okay, we have everything. So we're gonna start with the oil, half cup. Make sure you have all your liquids ready before you add any of them to your bowl, okay? So there's our olive oil, there's our maple syrup, and do I have my whisk? I think I have my whisk. You can see it? Good. Oh, I see it too, yes. And then we're gonna pour this in. And we're going to mix it. Because what happens is that flaxseed will start to thicken everything. And we wanna get all the lumps out of it before it does that. So we're just mixing up all of our lumps here. And then we're gonna set this aside and let it work its magic. You know, a lot of people will tell you that you need to mix your flaxseed and water and set it aside until it thickens to an egg and then beat it into your recipe like egg. That's a great concept, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, but it's very difficult to do it, especially if you let your flaxseed and water sit too long. It turns almost solid. So you'll notice what I did. I put the flaxseed in the dry ingredients and mix it in, and then let the whole thing sit. And you don't have to beat that egg in there. So it's a lot easier. 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. So if someone wants to set a timer for 10 minutes, actually I can. I think I've got a timer right here on my watch. So we will set it for 10 minutes. All right, timer set. We'll just let that sit for a minute. And if it is too thick, because it gets thicker as it sits. If it's too thick, all you have to do is add a little bit more soy milk to it and very carefully fold it in with your spatula, because you don't want to beat it again. You'll beat out all your baking powder bubbles and then it won't rise. But if you can just gently fold it in, it will keep getting thicker the longer it sits on your counter. So you may have to add between batches as you put it on your griddle. But that is something you can adjust as needed. All right, so we have made pancakes, we have made potatoes. So we need to make scrambled tofu. That's what I forgot to get. Can you get me some tofu out of the fridge? And a sharp knife. No, I've got a sharp knife, never mind. Just need the tofu, I've got everything else here. Go ahead and give me 2. I don't think anyone will complain if I make more scrambled tofu over here. Now let's turn the stove on. The fun of having a mobile kitchen. Yep, we're good.
If Kristina can cook in a can.
I can cut it. I can cut it, Julie.
I have just printed it.
Okay, I was going to show them how to do it, but that's fine. Thank you. I will tell you what she did.
If Kristina can.
She's well trained. Okay, good. You can bring the other one. Perfect. Then I only have to do one. Sorry, Daniel, what were you saying?
If Kristina can cook in a can with wood.
Thank you. Perfect. Yes, thank you. All right, so for scrambled tofu, this is water packed tofu, and my favorite place to get it is Aldi. This week it was $1.25 at Aldi's. Usually it's between $1.25 to $1.50, whereas if you get it at Walmart or anywhere else, it's going to be anywhere from $2 to $3 or even $4. So Aldi has extra firm tofu, and I absolutely love their texture. You'll notice I drain the water, and then I rinse it, which we will rinse it out here. And then the next thing I do is I smell it. And I do that no matter what the date is, which it smells good, so that's good. If you want to know if tofu is bad or not, it goes by smell. If it smells like beans or doesn't really have a lot of smell at all, then it's good. If it smells like sour milk, it is on its way out. If it smells like manure, it's gone. And it will smell exactly like manure. Soy milk and tofu, anything soybeans, if it's gone, it smells like manure. There's no other way to describe it. So if you are hit by the smell of sour milk or manure, you know that it is gone. And I do that even if it's within the date, just because I have had, some times where either, we don't know if the refrigerator went out in the truck that was bringing it over, or, anything like that. If it happens to get to warmer temperature, or I had one time where because it got too warm in my car after I bought it before I got it home with the groceries, there are ways that you can make it spoil before that date. So always check. Well, pinhole in the plastic, that's a different problem. It'll actually turn brown colored if there's a pinhole in the plastic, because that's not well sealed. And if you see your tofu has a brownish color on top, then throw it away. Okay, so I'm gonna move this over here. Then they still see me over here, Daniel, since I keep moving.
You're good.
The secret for scrambled tofu is do not mash it. I have a lot of people who love to mash tofu, and you'll notice I'm not pressing it. I'm not getting the water out of it. There's actually some water drainage left in my bowl, and that's perfectly fine. You want to break it into chunks. And my favorite way to do that is the principle of halves. So, for instance, take your block of tofu, break it in half again, break that piece in half, and then you got some nice chunks. If you just sit here and just pick pieces off, it's going to disintegrate. It's not going to hold that nice shape and give you that nice texture. The reason I do this is because it helps the texture of the tofu, so it has a more similar texture to egg. I am not going to tell you that this is scrambled eggs. I'm not going to tell you that it tastes just like scrambled eggs. I'll let someone else tell you that if they want. I always tell people this is scrambled tofu, but it tastes good. And it may have a similarity to eggs, but I always tell people this is not eggs.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're just having fun here. At least I am. I don't know about the rest of you.
Watch that church horn.
You need one with the cushion?
Come down here, here's where you were. I had a buddy upstairs. I think it's church for a long time.
You are perfectly fine. You stand wherever you want to stand. All right, so we are going to put some seasonings on this tofu. And then the other secret for cooking tofu, besides the fact that you want to break it in chunks instead of mashing it, is you do not want to overcook it. When you overcook tofu, it will turn dry and hard. And there is, I don't know, it's an unwritten rule in my book that tofu should not be dry and hard. It should be soft. I mean, eggs aren't dry and hard, right? Unless you leave them out all day or try eat them cold from the fridge. But there is something pleasant about moist tofu. So you can brown the edges of it while the inside's still being moist. And that is your goal. So you can see how big of chunks I've got here on my tofu. And this is why I have a rag. We are going to season this, and we are actually going to measure as precise as we can. So you guys have the tofu recipe. I doubled it, so you get to do the math. All right, 2 teaspoons of salt. You'll notice it's a very simple recipe. You could always add sauteed onions and sauteed peppers and all that kind of stuff in it. But this is a very simple, basic tofu. And on your salt, you do not want to go heaping. You want to make sure, especially if you're doing 2 of them, that you go scant on your 2nd teaspoon so that it's not overly salty. The other secret to not making it overly salty is don't cook it too long. It'll get saltier and saltier the more it cooks. Okay, and then next, what are we putting in?
2 teaspoons onion powder.
All right, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. You'll notice both of those things are similar to the potatoes, the same amount of onion powder per salt. And then you'll notice I have a lot less on the garlic, 1/4 the amount. So how much garlic?
1 teaspoon.
Okay, yeah. So if you like less garlic, you put a 1/2 teaspoon in, and if you put more garlic, you put a whole teaspoon in. This is our double batch, so we're going to do a scant teaspoon because I don't like lots of garlic.
So what is the real difference between granulated versus powder?
Okay, so the thing says garlic powder, but it's actually granulated. Garlic powder, the actual garlic powder is going to look like cornstarch. It's so fine, it's like poof. I do not like to use that kind. So if your jar says garlic powder, but it doesn't look like powder, it's more granulated, that's the one you want. And of course, I buy it by the pound and redump it back in my jar. But Aldi has really nice jars. the powder will turn solid with humidity really fast. And it's actually more potent, so you put less in your recipes. But it's a lot harder to mix in just because of the powdered nature. So I like to look for granules. Whether it says it or looks it, it's fine. It just needs to look that way. And you notice when I put it on, I didn't just make a pile on one piece of tofu. I sprinkle it across the top. That's going to help for even flavor when you're cooking it. All right, what else goes in here?
2 teaspoons of lemon juice.
Okay. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And I was telling the girls, I think I forgot to put the lemon juice in what's already made. So it may have a slightly less sour flavor in those than will in these. It still works without lemon juice. It's not the end of the world if you forget to put it in. But it does help with more of the sour flavor, kind of a little more of an eggy flavor. And then the last thing is an optional ingredient. You do not have to put it in, but it does add a little bit of flavor. And that is sesame oil, right? Oh, we need turmeric. Well, let's put turmeric in. How much do we need of that? 1/4 teaspoon. Yes, it does not take very much. Now, every batch of turmeric is different. This one is like a really dark brown. Sometimes it's more yellow in your bottle, depending on what batch you get. And so that will decide how much you actually put in here. Sometimes I don't even if it's really dark, I don't even put a full 1/4 teaspoon, and I'll just shake just a little bit on top. You don't want to over turmeric your tofu because it'll turn brown and it has a really strong flavor. It don't taste good. Turmeric's really good for you, it just tastes awful. Unless you absolutely love the flavor, then you can put as much as you want. Okay, sesame oil is our last ingredient, right?
2 teaspoons.
Okay, and that is totally optional. If you don't like the sesame oil flavor, then you can just leave it out. Or if you're trying to go oil-free, you can also leave it out. If you're the type of person that would rather have it a little bit more browned on the bottom and you don't want to use the sesame oil, you can do 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and that will just help. It helps keep it from sticking and helps brown it. So we're going to turn it on. I'm turning on as high as it goes, and my 10-minute timer just rang for my pancake batter, which tells me that I need to turn this on too, and hopefully we don't blow any breakers by running a griddle and the stove at the same time. Oh yeah, we're in the same outlet. We're gonna hope we don't, I'm not gonna use the second griddle. We're gonna hope we don't blow any breakers over here.
So this is your recipe, right?
This is my recipe.
Built all this over how many years now? I don't understand it.
Most of these recipes I started developing when we got married. Some of them I started developing as a teenager. But when I was a teenager, I lived under my mom's roof and I had to make her recipes her way. And when I got married, I was liberated from that and I got to make my recipes my way, and then I retaught my mom how to cook. My mom is a good cook, by the way, but there was something I was like, Mom, you've done it this way all my life, and I think you should do it this way now. But anyway, I'm very thankful for my mom giving me the experience in the kitchen. Was there another question?
I made a comment that was a test subject right there.
Yes, Daniel is my official taste tester. That is his very important role in all my cooking, especially once I had a restaurant. So I'm going to tell on him for a minute. When we first got married, he said he liked everything I made, and that made me mad. Because I was like, I told him, I said, there's no way that you could possibly like every single thing I made. You must be lying with at least one of them. I want the absolute truth. Like, if you don't like something or you think it needs to be tweaked a little bit, I want to know. I want an honest taste tester, not just someone who says, oh yeah, it's good, it tastes good, it tastes good. That's right. So after that, we started playing a game. And the game was, I would give him something that I made, and he would taste it, and I would be like, I want you to tell me everything that you're eating, everything that's in there. Tell me everything you taste in this. And so he'd sit there and, go through everything until he learned to distinguish all the different flavors and what the ingredients were that I generally used. And so then he actually became a really good taste tester, because he could eat something and say, I think this needs a little more of this or that, you know, and he could actually tell me, and that was a good taste tester. So now I don't get mad at him anymore if he says it's good, because I know he really knows his stuff.
Well, I just have to say that, you know, we've all along, we've always worked as a team in the kitchen, because it takes one person to cook it and someone to eat it.
It also takes someone to wash dishes, and he's really good about helping me clean the kitchen afterwards. So we'll give him credit for that too. So most of you know, but some of you may not know, that Daniel and I met when we were 10 years old. And when we were kids, we loved to have discussions.
We didn't argue, we just discussed.
We did not always agree at the end of our discussions, but we were still friends, so that was all that mattered. But our first, I guess you could call it argument, was how many colors are in a rainbow. And that argument lasted for, an hour and a half, I think? And at the end, we decided to be friends, but we never agreed on that subject. So, of course, you know, I was right, because there's 7 colors in a rainbow, Roy G. Biv. But he says there's 6, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, because that's what, you know, the kids' books tell you. So, anyway, we pretend to argue about that still, but he really believes I'm right. Yep, we just blew the breaker. We blew the breaker. So, you want to find the breaker for me? We may have to figure out some other place to plug this in. Which one did I unplug? I heard the tick, so it couldn't be too far away.
In the office there.
It's in the office here?
Is there another outlet down?
Did you get it? Yep. All right, that means I unplugged the wrong one.
The office is the one you kicked off.
Yes, you got it. I unplugged the wrong one over here. So maybe,
Give me another one of those cords. I'll see if I can find it. Okay.
yeah, I need another place to put it for sure.
You just want to move the thing over to the window here.
I need to get the pancakes going, so wherever you want to plug it in. See if that one's a separate.
I think this one over there. This wall is one of those.
You're fine.
Can't go too far away.
You're fine.
No, anyway, trip over the forward.
All right, we'll see if we can do this without blowing any breakers. That one's not on. Oh, yes, it is. It's on. All right, perfect. Thank you. So while that's going, I'm going to show you one more thing that is not in your recipe. And that is my very, very favorite way to make French toast. And it is super simple. And it's nice when you don't have flour, you don't have everything, you don't want to take the time to make pancakes, and you want something special. It takes about 3 ingredients. And a can of coconut milk, and it does not matter which kind of coconut milk that you use, as long as it's full fat and not light. So you want your full fat coconut milk of any kind, and then I just add a little bit of vanilla to it and a pinch of salt. And then if you want a little bit of sweetener, you could put in 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar, or you could put in a tablespoon of maple syrup, or whatever, if you want it sweet, whatever sweetener you want to use. And that's it. So I have that here, and when my griddle is done warming, I will show you how to do that one as well. Because that is super simple, fast, and easy. You just dip your bread in it and put it on the griddle, 3 minutes on each side. Which it's easy enough, that's why I did not bother trying to write it all out. I figured you could do that by hand. And the griddle for the French toast, you want to use 300 degrees or 350 at the most. And for pancakes, you do it at 350. So my griddle's at 300 right now. Somewhere in those black bags on the floor, I should have some olive oil spray. I don't need it for pancakes, but I do need it for French toast. Thank you. So I usually use homemade bread, but I did not have any. I've been gone for the last couple weeks in Maryland doing classes, so we are using whole wheat, 100% whole wheat Dave's Killer Bread is what I've got here. So you just dip it in, both sides. Use a spoon or a spatula or something to scrape off the excess because you don't need the amount that sticks on there. And I forgot to take the lid off this thing. And that's it.
She has 5 hands, so you can use them all.
Okay, Daniel, if you could plug in this griddle over there somewhere in the kitchen, preferably on a different circuit, so we don't like blow every breaker in this building. I can get pancakes going at the same time as I'm doing French toast. So any questions on what I've covered so far? We've covered a lot in a very short amount of time. I hope you've enjoyed the journey through the kitchen. I would do it at 300 or 350 for maybe 3 minutes and then check them, flip them over and give it another minute or two if it needs more than that. I mean, it depends on if they've thawed or if they're completely frozen, but if they're frozen, that's what I would do.
I think my biggest takeaway right now is going to be to go buy some lemon juice because I'm always squeezing lemons together.
Yes.
To make it faster, to just get the pre-done lemon juice.
Yes, it does help. And if you want, they actually sell little tiny bottles of lemon juice, like really little. They're the size of a lemon, and they actually have some that are not from concentrate. And I like to get those for camping, so I can have lemon juice with me when I'm camping. But if you don't use lemon juice a lot, that's a great way to do it. It does make a difference when you don't have to squeeze a lemon every time you want to cook.
But Kristina does have a pretty good prep.
Any other questions? 2 more hands. Okay. Yes?
So not all of us have griddles that we put on electric stoves.
Okay, so if you don't have a griddle, I recommend this frying pan right here. This frying pan is from Aldi. They only sell it twice a year. So watch for it if you can watch online for their sales when they bring it in. It's a Crofton is their Aldi brand. It is a ceramic skillet, and it does not stick. Like I can use it for everything, and it does not stick, which is really, really nice.
Because I've had ceramic.
No,
That have not lasted, the stick them gets
so all of them are not going to last forever, but of all the brands that I have tried, this one lasts the longest. I have 5 of them because I keep 2 in my camper and I have 2 in the house, so I guess I have 4 of them. And I have bought 1 a year for the last 4 years. I'm still using the first one. After 4 years, and I beat mine up. I mean, I don't scrub it with like metal scrubber, and I try to use wood or plastic on it, but I use it a lot. And my one that's 3 or 4 years old still works. So I would say for a $12 frying pan, it lasts pretty well. Even if you had to get it once a year, it's still worth it. You had a question?
Could you please go over again the recipe for the French
The
fries?
French toast? Yes. It's 1 can of coconut milk and a pinch of salt and 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla and 1 tablespoon of sweetener. Okay, this one is done, so I'm going to turn this off now. How is my griddle? Is it heated up? Okay. You can bring it out now that I've got this one off, yes. Because I want to get those pancakes going before the batter gets any thicker on me. And you guys want to eat. Just put it right here, and I will plug it in. Thank you very much. Yes, it is perfectly warm, which is marvelous. This French toast is almost done, and then I'm going to switch it to pancakes.
If I have a double Kristina at a house, I'm going to wire the kitchen with 20 different circuits.
Yeah, I had a few circuits in my restaurant, and I used them all, and I blew breakers there too. It was a small restaurant kitchen. All right. This is sat for like, what, almost 20 minutes now, so we're gonna add a little bit more soy milk to it. And I'm just gonna gently fold it in. It does best if it doesn't sit this long, but anyway, we had to deal with the breaker, so we did what we could here.
So on Facebook, Sue wants to know, can you freeze the French toast or the pancakes?
Yes, yes you can. It just never lasts long enough at my house to do that. Oh, we've never had to freeze them because we have eaten them. We'll just eat them for 3 days in a row. We don't mind. Did I hear another question over here?
I just had a comment about the skillets.
Yes.
I've discovered that you never can overheat it. Like, I'm not used to cooking on a gas stove. I've always been electric. And I'm on a gas stove now. Accidentally turned it up. Well, I think it was past medium. I was in a hurry. Turned it back on in a second, and I ruined that non-stick thing. If they ever get too hot, it seems to.
Yes, yes, you do not want to get them too hot. That is correct. You never want to get it above medium heat. It will warp and it will ruin the coating. That is correct. Aww. Yeah, that's rough. All right, we've got it here. We've got Trying to make sure I don't burn these. Yeah, these are done.
The newer, like the glass top stoves, tend to have more like a thermostat in them, so that it won't, I mean, you can still overheat it, but it keeps you from just scorching it in a minute, you know, if you turn it back.
So for pancakes, I use a 1/4 cup measuring cup as my scoop. All right.
You're making it all up.
Well, that's what we want. We want hungry people here. But we're gonna feed those bellies. So it's 3 minutes on each side for pancakes as well. So I'm gonna fry up all these pancakes. We'll cut those French toast in half and I'll let you go through line and then I will make more French toast. How's that sound? So I imagine you guys are hungry and ready to eat. And we have food.
You can invest in one of those things that I often use to show you just push the button and spits and things out on a grill.
Right, that's what we need.
What's that thing?
Any other questions?
You're gonna put some blueberries in mine.
Oh, blueberries are good, yes. You could totally put blueberries in there. So I'm going to, where did we put it? It's on the stove, isn't it? Can you bring out the sauce that's on the stove, please? I think I still have my, I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to demonstrate, but I'm gonna talk to you about the strawberry sauce while these pancakes are cooking. And then you guys can eat it. Make a spot for it here. Right here. So one thing when I'm doing, this will move. I'll just bring it over here with me. I'm just gonna move right down here to the table. I had too much fun today, can you tell? When I make pancakes, sometimes, you know, it's nice to have, you know, just maple syrup and whatever on them, but sometimes it's nice to have something a little bit more. And so I gave you the recipe for strawberry sauce, and that's why I made here, except I did strawberries and blueberries. It's a very, very, very simple process. In fact, maybe Julia, if you could bring me out of the freezer, there is the frozen apple juice and grape juice in the freezer. I want to show them that. I keep in the freezer at all times frozen apple juice concentrate and grape juice concentrate. Apple juice concentrate is kind of my go-to for everything. I like to use it for pies. I like to use it for sauce or for cheesecake or for all that. And if it's always in the freezer, it's easy to grab anytime I want it. Thank you so much. Is it time to flip? It's getting close. Let's see what this looks like. Yep, they're perfect. Good job. Aren't they pretty? For gluten-free, that's pretty good. I don't know if these are quite ready yet. We'll see. Yep, they're good. She's hungry, that's what it is. I know, you poor thing. She's thinking of everybody else here. Okay, so the recipe calls for one of these, and then I fill it half full with water, or all the way full with water, depending, but generally the recipe says half full of water, and put it in your pot. So you just got apple juice concentrate and some water in your pot. And then you're gonna add your cornstarch, and does it have anything else in there? Oh yes, the grape juice concentrate. You'll notice there's like 2 tablespoons in there. That is solely for color. When I first started making strawberry sauce, I did it with just apple juice, and it almost looks brown. Like strawberries will lose their color, and like there's this clearish brownish liquid, and it's just like really funny looking. And so I thought, how can I make it, you know, the bright red color? A couple of tablespoons of grape juice will do the trick. If you put too much grape juice, it's just gonna be purple, which is fine too. But I want you to see how pretty this is. And that was just with the 2 tablespoons of grape juice for color. Another thing that I've used instead of grape juice, and it actually has even more of a red color than grape, is black cherry juice concentrate. And you can do the same amount, 2 tablespoons of black cherry juice concentrate instead of grape juice. The flavor is phenomenal because it gives it like a cherry flavor, and it gives a really, really, really pretty red color. But grape juice is cheaper and easier to get, so that's why for cooking classes I use that, but at the restaurant I always did cherry. So anyway, yeah, so you put your juice in and your cornstarch, and then you stir it until it comes to a boil, and then you boil it for 1 minute until it's completely clear, no cloudy-ish looking color, because that cloudy is the cornstarch. And then once that's done, then you add your frozen berries in, and you just simply stir it and cook it until those berries are mostly warm. You don't want to cook them. You don't want to cook the berries. You want the berries to stay nice. So if you cook them, the berries just kind of disintegrate and it just kind of turns to blah. But as long as you shut off the heat when they're done cooking, and you get really, really, really nice sauce. And you can adjust, like if it's too thick, you can add more water. If it's too runny, you just add more berries. And so yeah, that's the secret for strawberry sauce. So any questions on that? I know that was super fast. Ooh. I figured you didn't have to watch me make that. I would just be, there we go, they're done. Look at that. I'll put the next batch on the griddle. Now, you will see why I have griddles, because if you are cooking a lot of pancakes, it goes much faster than having just a frying pan. We'd be here all day if you were waiting for me on the stove. Whoops. But in 6 minutes, we had, what, 14 pancakes? That's pretty good. And with the pancakes, you really don't even have to put much oil at all, if any. If it's a brand new griddle, you don't have to put any at all. These are old griddles. I've been using them a long time, so I just have to put a tiny, tiny little bit. But my favorite griddles are not these. These are old. I bought these before they made such a thing. But this same company, this is Presto. They make ceramic griddle. And so then you don't have to deal with the nonstick coating like these have. And I highly recommend them. That's what I used at the restaurant. I just haven't worn these out enough yet that I can warrant buying new griddles. So I'm going to use them till they're toast, and then I'll replace them with ceramic. But yeah, it's nice because you don't get the nonstick coating that way. And they're about $40. And they're worth every penny. If you make a lot of veggie burgers, pancakes, I also use them for Hash browns, I also use them for, I have a zucchini patty recipe that I use for as well. Any of that type of stuff, if you make a lot of those, you are going to want a griddle because it will save your life. It's so much easier than trying to bake them in the oven, and it heats your house a whole lot less than the oven does. And I always tell people, if I had to choose only 2 appliances, I would choose a griddle and a blender. If I could choose a 3rd one, I'd add an air fryer. But when I go camping, the griddle is what I take with me. If I know that our campsite is going to have power, I will bring my griddle camping. Hands down, it's the best thing ever for camping. I mean, you can do tofu on it. You can do pancakes on it. I do my zucchini patties with it, and plantains, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do on it. And it sure beats pulling out the big propane stove and all that stuff. When we were camping this summer, we had our propane stove and we used it. But sometimes I was just like, I don't feel like pulling that thing out right now. And my griddle is so easy because we had power at the campsite and I could just plug it in and just do whatever I needed, and I'd cook our whole meal on the griddle. I'd have the scrambled tofu on one side and, the either plantains or pancakes or something else on the other, and just do it all in one griddle and be done. Breakfast was served. So, all right, well, I think there's enough that we can get started. So Daniel, would you like to have prayer for the food? And I'm going to need a knife to cut those. Would you, let's see. Yes, I am done with that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Daniel, would you pray? And we'll get started, and I will crank out some more French toast.
Sounds good. Thank you. Smells delicious. Let's pray. Father in heaven, Lord, we are thankful again for this class. We're thankful for each one who can be here. And we're thankful, Lord, for this good food. We pray that you'll bless it to our nourishment and strength. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Keep Facebook Live on.
Now I'm going to say bye to Facebook Live. And Julia, if you could bring the potatoes out of the oven and another hot pad. Thank you all for joining us. It was so nice to have you. And I'll let you know when we do our next class. By the way, we are doing one more class next month on April 13, Sunday at 3 p.m., and we're doing desserts. So, God bless you all.
Debbie Smith says, hi, Kristina, and Cindy says this is my favorite meal when you would have Mother's Day brunch at your restaurant.
Aww, I miss you guys. Yes.